Welcome back to another episode of Organizing Tune-Ups with your host, Jessica Littman, where we break down big organizing concepts into small, bite-sized chunks you can do in your home every day for 5 to 15 minutes. We are chatting about what to do with Grandma's china. Oh yes, this is a question we have received and are really excited to chat about this topic because I think it's something that a lot of people take for granted and really kind of forget that sometimes you don't always need to keep the china. Oh my gosh, I said it. This might be like really controversial, but I'm not necessarily a believer that you have to keep all of Grandma's china. So I want to start by posing a question. Can you be sentimental, but also a minimalist? I feel like these two things get like so wrapped up in kind of like they go against each other. Like you can't be a minimalist and be sentimental. Like it's one or the other. And I kind of disagree with you if you think that, and here's why. When it comes to sentimental items, you don't need to keep all of them for them to be sentimental. You can keep like one thing and then the rest you can part with. And so you can still have those important sentimental items without having an entire collection of the things. So I always ask, I have lots of questions in this episode, I guess. I'm noticing I have a lot of questions that I need you to ask yourself and ponder and figure out, because I can't tell you what is or isn't sentimental, because what's sentimental to me might not be sentimental to you. So I'm just going to be posing a lot of questions for you. And then you need to answer those as to if the item is necessary to keep or not. So if you aren't using it, why? If it's not out on display, why? If it's not displayed in some way, why? I think this gets to the root of the sentimental clutter versus sentimental items. And I think the two are very different. You have sentimental clutter, which you're holding on to for many reasons. And then you have sentimental items, which are on display, which are holding meaning, which are serving a purpose. And so really differentiating those two things is where we have to start, and by asking yourselves the questions of like, why isn't it on display? Why am I not using it? Why is it not, X, Y, or Z? Just figuring out why you're not using it, why it's not out, is going to help you define, is it a sentimental item or is it just clutter? And then from there, we can figure out like what to do with it. So if you have, a tea set from your grandma, what are you going to do with it? Well, I don't have anywhere to display the whole set. I have 12 teacups. I have the tea server. I have the coffee and the cream and all the things that go with like the tea set. And then I also have Grandma's china. And then I have my other Grandma's china. And then I have my mom's china. And so I have all of these things that I'm not using. What do I do? So display it, use it. We are using our china we got at our wedding. That's our everyday china. And yes, I put it in the dishwasher. It says it's dishwasher safe. I know some things say that they're not, but ask yourself, more questions for you. Ask yourself, is putting this in the dishwasher and seeing what happens a better use of this item, or is storing it in my basement and not touching it a better use of this item? Sometimes it's fine and you see what happens. And most of the time, I'm going to be totally honest, I've had people put china in the dishwasher and it's been fine. You just put on, like, if you're washing dishes, just put on delicate. And like, that's how you wash your dishes, and then just see what happens. But by you using the items, instead of saving it for someday, you're going to have more meaning. It's going to be special. It's going to be what you need for that particular item. I'm a big believer in stop saving things for a special day and make every day special by using those things. Use the china. use the teacups, put things on display in your kitchen. Not everything needs to be so overly curated in order to, make your house a home. I personally feel when you have those stories and you have one china cup from your grandma and your great grandma, and you have all of these on display, it makes your home feel cozy because you can feel the love. You can feel like this was grandma's, this was, this has a story. There's always something to share. It's a conversation starter. It's something that you can look at every day and feel that connection to somebody who might no longer be here. And really just focusing your attention on using those special things instead of holding on to them for someday, because someday might not come. And so instead of feeling that burden, like we have all of this sentimental clutter in our basement, now we have sentimental items, and those items are what we're going to showcase, we're going to use, we're going to love and appreciate, versus having clutter in our basement that we feel we have to keep. So I have a ton of tips on how to deal with sentimental clutter, defining if it's sentimental clutter or if it is a sentimental item, in my sentimental items workbook that you can get wherever you are listening to this podcast. And I want you to take action in defining what is a sentimental item and what is sentimental clutter. I want you to ask yourself, why aren't you using this particular item? And what is the worst thing that could happen if you used your china every day? I want you to answer those questions so that you can start clearing unwanted clutter and showcasing, displaying, and loving those sentimental pieces for what they are. I'll see you in the next one.